You know, I was laying here thinking, and I hear all these white people and white sympathizers talking about, well, we understand the protest. We don't have a problem with the protest, but all of the violence and vandalism, we don't understand that. You're destroying your own neighborhoods. We just don't understand why you do that. Really? You don't understand. You understand. You don't want us to understand. But just in case you really don't understand, let me explain. So, first, we're going to start with you say that you don't mind the protest. You, you, you don't mind the protest. The protests are okay. I'm going to go ahead and call bullshit on that. Um, when we were in Africa, we protested peacefully, not being kidnapped and put on ships and taken to the Caribbean, North America, Central America, and South America as slaves. Um, for those protests, we were killed, thrown overboard into the ocean, whipped, beaten, hung, blah, 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 just for protesting peacefully. Um, Once we were slaves here in the New World and throughout the Caribbean, North, Central, and South America, we protested being slaves peacefully. We were beaten, whipped, hung, and murdered and raped and sodomized. We had our feet chopped off so we wouldn't be able to run. All those were peaceful protest. Uh, uh, um, when we were no longer slaves, not because slavery was wrong, but to bring the South back in line with the Union. The only way for them to do that was to take away their most valuable natural resource, which was free labor in the form of chattel slavery. Abraham Lincoln said if there was any way that he could save the Union and not free the slaves, then he would. Absolutely what he said. So it wasn't about doing what was right, because we weren't even seen as human, we were seen as livestock property. Um, so even at the end of slavery, there was the Jim Crow laws and the black codes. We protested that. We were lynched, we were hung, we were beaten, we were shot, we were unjustly thrown in jail for protesting peacefully. Um, During the civil rights movement, we protested, we were lynched, we were hung, we were beaten, we were murdered. Um, Malcolm X, contrary to popular belief, um, contrary to popular belief, Malcolm X was not for violence. Malcolm X was for defending ourselves against violence from you. And what did he get? He got killed. Yes, he was killed by his own people, but it was orchestrated by the federal government. Um, Medgar Evers protested peacefully, and you killed him. The March on Selma, the march across the, I think it was called the uh, Pettus Bridge, marching peacefully. People were beaten. They had dogs sicked on them. They had fire hoses earned on them. Many of them were killed for protesting peacefully. Um, there were several examples of this throughout history. I can't think of all of them right now. I'm getting a brain freeze. Um, the one name that you love to invoke to keep the Negroes in line is Martin Luther King. Martin Luther King wasn't about violence, he was about peace. So you pick the excerpts of the things that he said that um, that speak to your agenda, and you leave the rest out. Like, for example, he said riots are the voices of the unheard, but nobody talks about it. And incidentally, you always bring him up. He was peaceful. He was about peace. You killed him violently. He was peacefully protesting. So much so that he instructed his followers that when we are hit, don't strike back. Don't fight back. Even when they're violent against you, you remain peaceful. And you killed him violently. So we have people like the black man who won the Olympics. And just because they put their fist up in the air, you crucified them. Financially, you character assassinated them, ruin their lives, ruin their careers, just because they put a fist up in the air. That was a peaceful protest. There's been quite a few professional athletes who have protested peacefully. You blackballed them, ruin their careers for protesting peacefully. Colin Kaepernick took a knee peacefully. Peacefully. There was nothing but peace. You blackballed him, ruined his career, ruined his life, and destroyed him just because he took a knee. Okay? He didn't just sit and not put his hand over his heart. He took a knee. One of the most humble things that you can do is take a knee. One of the most humble things that you could do is bow before someone. He took a knee and you ruined him. So don't sit here and tell me that you don't mind if we protest peacefully peacefully, because that is a lie. That is a bald-faced lie. You do not mind if we protest peacefully. You don't want us protesting at all. You just want us to shut up and continue to take it. That's what you want. You want us to shut up and continue to take it. That is what you want. And no matter what we do, the outcome is going to be the same. And to speak to, oh, you're destroying your own neighborhoods. Them ain't our neighborhoods. We don't own shit in there. We don't own any of the businesses. We don't own any of the stores. We don't own any of the property, and you make sure of it. Well, it's your own fault you don't own any of the property. You could just work hard and lace up your bootstraps, and you could be successful too. Tulsa, Oklahoma, 1921, Black Wall Street, very prosperous black area where we worked hard, pulled up our bootstraps, and we made it happen. No welfare, no food stamps, no government assistance. We made it happen. And what did you good Christian white folks do? You came in there, burned it to the ground, raped, pillaged, murdered, and killed. And you ran every black man, woman, and child out of their houses, off of their property, away from their businesses, and you stole all of their land, all of their businesses, and all of their property. You did this in Rosewood, Florida. You did it in Greenville. You did it in Harlem. You did it in Oakland. You did it in New York. Central Park used to be called Seneca Village, or Little Africa. All of that land that Central Park sits on used to be owned by blacks. There were black houses, black businesses, black schools. They were doing very, very well. What happened? You white people came in there and you raped, you murdered, you pillaged, you killed. And you took it. There are millions of acres of land throughout the U.S. that has been stolen from blacks who worked hard, laced up their straps, and made it happen, even against all of the odds, like redlining. Does anybody know what redlining is? It is the practice of designating certain areas as low property value. And of course, those are all of the areas where blacks lived. So, made it impossible for us to get bank loans, made it impossible to buy houses, and even if we worked hard and saved up the money that we needed to buy it, even in cash, certain areas we were not allowed to move into. Certain houses we were not allowed to buy just because we were black. So it made home ownership virtually impossible. But even through that, we still managed to thrive. And what did you do? Came in there and burned it down, destroyed it. How about the red summer? During that summer, I think it was 1970 17 or 1919, all across the U.S., white people just went rampant, destroying black people's houses, destroying their businesses, running them off of their land, running them off of their property, running them out of their neighborhoods, and stealing their land and stealing their property. So even when we try to work hard and lace up our bootstraps and did this and that and the other, here you come with your violence, with your riots, with your destruction, and then you have the audacity to tell us not to be violent. You were violent against the Native Americans. You were violent against Africans. You were violent against Mexicans. You were violent against Asians. You were violent when you stole this entire continent. But you have the nerve, the audacity to tell us that we shouldn't be violent. Violence doesn't work. Violence never solved anything. Well, it works pretty goddamn well for y'all. That's why white people go out here and buy all these guns and buy all this ammo, because they know violence for them has been a way of life. And you're telling us that violence doesn't work, but ever since we start becoming violent, now white people are listening. Now we're starting to get results that we've never gotten. We're starting to receive attention that we never have. So don't tell me not to be violent until you stop being violent. Don't tell me not to destroy our own property and have riots and this and that and the other. You people have riots when you lose a soccer game. You people destroy your own areas and your own communities when your local college or high school loses a football game or a baseball game or a hockey game. You riot and destroy and tear up. Just kids being kids. That's all. Yeah. See, the narrative changes when it's you guys that are doing it. So we learned how to be violent from you. We are naturally peaceful and non-violent. That's how you have been able to subdue us and control us and enslave us and oppress us even until this day. You have the audacity to talk about, well, what about black on black crime? Oh, what about that? White on white crime is at 86%. 86% of crimes perpetrated against white people are perpetrated by whites. Why don't we discuss that? Because it doesn't fit the narrative, right? Yeah, black on black crime exists. Black on black crime is a problem. But we are tribalistic people. If you live in a black area around black people, and that's the only people that you come in contact with, when you do good things, you're going to do good things to blacks. When you do bad things, you're going to do bad things to blacks, because that's who you're around. Same thing with whites, same thing with Asians, same thing with Mexicans. So also, if you create a community with horrible schools, poor education, no businesses, no jobs, no colleges, no universities, a liquor store on every corner. Inundate the community with drugs and guns and ammo and alcohol, which was done. Truckloads of guns and ammo have been left in black communities, and this has been happening for years. So when you put those kinds of things into any community, doesn't matter which, you're going to get a negative result, period. And then when we try to leave that community and go into communities that offer better opportunity, we're met with racism, discrimination. You won't hire us. You won't give us a job. Your banks won't give us a loan, even though we are lower risk than many of the white people that do receive loans. We get harassed by the police. We get killed. What are you doing over here? You ain't got no business over here. You look suspicious. Let me see your ID. You fit the description. When we come out of our neighborhoods and try to go into a neighborhood that offers more opportunity. So in the immortal words of KRS-One, now tell me, what the fuck am I supposed to do? There's literally nothing left for us to do but to become violent, just like we were taught from you.